I'd like to open as we do with a few moments of silence and invite God into this process. Amen. Thank you. We'll talk a little bit about meditation in general. The meaning of the word has changed in my lifetime. We found a 1930s dictionary, and one of the examples it gave is a general will meditate a war. It meant to sit and think specifically about something. But in the 1960s, the Beatles brought the Maharishi and the Ram Dass and all that stuff started happening. And now the word meditation has the Eastern religion connotation. I don't think anybody this evening will find anything in conflict with any of their religious or spiritual beliefs. If you do, it'll be the first time. And I've been doing this meditation workshop for better than 15 years. For me, meditation is the third state of consciousness. There's awake, asleep, and the one that lies between. And it's the one where if the phone had not rung, I'd have been asleep in another 3 or 4 seconds. That the body was already out and the mind was still alert but not very active. And in meditation, I'm able to go there and stay. It's a beautiful place. Body position is very important for me in meditation. I need to be in a body position where I'm not having to flex any muscles at all to stay. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. If I lean forward like so and slide my buttocks all the way back like that, now I've got an arch in my lower back. My head floats above my shoulders, and I'm flexing absolutely nothing. If I lean a little forward or lean a little back, then I have to flex something to keep it there. And you don't need to get this position right now if you don't want to, because I'm going to chat for a few more minutes about this. This particular meditation, now, for me, coming out of meditation is an awakening. I think we all know what it feels like. You wake, you pop your eye open and look at your clock and say, oh, I shouldn't have hit the snooze that last time, and you come shooting out of the bed. It's better to awaken slowly. So when we come out of meditation, I'm going to move us out slowly. I'm going to say things like wiggle your fingers and stop. Wiggle your toes and stop. And I ask you to keep your eyes closed until I ask you to open them. But we'll come out slowly. If you need to cough or sneeze while we're in meditation, please cough or sneeze. It's kind of like a sign on a highway, and you see it and it goes by and you just let it go if something disturbs my meditation. It's important for me to meditate on a relatively empty stomach because I'm trying to get everything to shut down. Half a pot of coffee and then meditate. I meditate really fast, and which doesn't really work all that well for me. And I'm going to take us on. I'm going to bring you 2 gifts from my beloved tonight and 1 from me, and we're going to go on a little visual trip. And we're going to do some flexing and relaxing of muscle groups. And I'm going you to use about 20% of your strength. Don't go for a personal best. There's going to be no trophy. We're just going to flex so that we can relax. That's the purpose. I'll also be saying things like take a slow, deep breath. And this is, I'll say exhale and now inhale. And release. So it takes about that long. If you get your lungs full before I get to the release, then just hold your breath, if you will, or let it go. There's no way to do this wrong, I don't think. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. In 1989, I took 3 men that I sponsored to Fall Creek Falls State Park, an hour east of Nashville. And we did a weekend of prayer and meditation, reading various spiritual literature. And we did fish once, and so we had to rent a canoe. But other than that, we broke contact with the world. We don't know the ball scores. We don't get the paper. Nothing. Just us. Saturday night, we're sitting there, and it was in the fall. We got a fireplace in this beautiful place. And we're sitting there just by the light of the fire, and we're talking about a woman from our home group who's just come out of a coma. And she said that while she was in the coma, she could feel the love and the prayers that were being sent to her. We're sitting talking about that. And what I'm going to show you tonight, it's not like we wrote it, it's more like it kind of showed up. It's what we call the love meditation. I try to do a visual. Mine is round and it's a column. Mine is silver. Now, John and I have done this before. His is gold. Mine shimmers. And it comes down through the top of my head. This is the love. It comes down through the top of my head, out my nose, my mouth, and my chest. And I send it to people. And I sent it, I filled this room with love before I left my bed this morning. You know, the book says on awakening. It does not say after a shower and shave, 2 over easy and bacon, a half a pot of coffee, reading the front page, and a fight with her. It says on awakening, and I think that's what it means. And I begin my day with love meditation, sending it to specific individuals and also to the places I'm going to be. I also send love to where Miss Linda's going to be and some things like that. It can't be done wrong. I'm going to name some people and say, God, please help us in love too. I might name somebody you don't have. If I say, brothers and sisters, you're an only child, pick somebody. Can't be done wrong. I'm probably going to name somebody you know that's already died. I believe we're sending love to the other side just fine. And this is just how it's been for me. I've had the privilege of doing this workshop in an awful lot of places, and a lot of people seem to think that, I hear people telling me I'm still using it. So it makes me think it's pretty effective. I'm going to do some selected readings from the 12 and 12. They are from the 11th step. They are consecutive, but they're not all together. And after that, I'm going to ask you to hit the body position, and we're going to move into the meditations. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Let's turn out the lights, and if you get yourself into that body position, get your buttocks all the way back, and get your shoulders to float, and your head. And when you're ready, close your eyes. Those of us who have come to make regular use of prayer would no more do without it than we would refuse air, food, or sunshine, and for the same reason. When we refuse air, light, or food, the body suffers. And when we turn away from meditation and prayer, we likewise deprive our minds, our emotions, and our intuitions of vitally needed support. As the body can fail its purpose for lack of nourishment, so can the soul. We all need the light of God's reality, the nourishment of His strength, and the atmosphere of His grace. To an amazing extent, the facts of AA life confirm this ageless truth. We will want the good that is in us all, even the worst of us, to flower and grow. Most certainly, we shall need bracing air and an abundance of food. First of all, we shall want sunlight. Nothing much can grow in the dark. Meditation is something which can always be further developed. It has no boundaries, either of width or height. Aided by such instruction and examples we can find, it is essentially an individual adventure, something which each one of us works out in its own way. But its object is always the same, to improve our conscious contact with God, with His grace, wisdom, and love. Let's always remember that meditation is in reality intensely practical. One of its first fruits is emotional balance. With it, we can broaden and deepen the channel between ourselves and God as we understand Him. Perhaps one of the greatest rewards of meditation and prayer is the sense of belonging that comes to us. We no longer live in a completely hostile world. We're no longer lost and frightened and purposeless. The moment we catch even a glimpse of God's will, the moment we begin to see truth, justice, and love as the real and eternal things in life, we're no longer deeply disturbed by all the seeming evidence to the contrary that surrounds us in purely human affairs. We know that God lovingly watches over us. We know that when we turn to Him, all will be well with us, here or hereafter. If you will now exhale and slowly inhale. And blow it out. And exhale, and slowly inhale. And blow it out again. And exhale, and slowly inhale. And release. Using 20% of your strength or less, wrinkle up your face, clench your jaw, press your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and exhale. And slowly inhale. And release. Flex your neck muscles. Raise your shoulders up to your ears and exhale. And slowly inhale. And release. Make fists. Flex your forearms and upper arms and exhale. And slowly inhale. And release. Flex your chest and stomach muscles. This will be a shallow breath. And exhale. And slowly inhale. And release. Flex your buttocks and your entire pelvic area and exhale. And slowly inhale. And release. Flex your thighs and calves, wrinkle up your toes, and exhale. And slowly inhale. And release. You are in motion, but you're seated. You're in a vehicle. It's a bus. It's a large bus. And you're seated on the aisle about halfway back. And there's a rowdy crowd in the bus. They're singing and yakking and digging and scratching and having a great time. And you look around and you realize that you know everyone on the bus. As a matter of fact, everyone you know is on the bus. The people that you see the most often are in your row and the rows immediately before you and behind you, folks you live with, members of your home group, people you work with. And a little bit further on toward the front and the back of the bus are folks you went to school with and distant family members and folks you used to hang out with. And you look around and you know them all. And you look out the window and you notice the shadow of the bus. And on the roof of the bus, there are boxes and trunks and containers. And in them are the things that you worry about, things that concern you, from politics and finances to romance. Everything is in one of those containers lashed tightly to the top of the bus. And you realize the bus has begun to slow down. And as the bus slows, the noise in the bus gets quieter and the bus comes to a stop and it's dead silent. And everyone's looking at you. And you realize this is your stop. You stand up, begin to walk toward the front of the bus, and people are patting you on the back saying, have a good trip, we're going to be fine, we'll see you later. Get to the front of the bus and find that one of the guardian angels is driving the bus, and he says to you, all these people and all these things you think about will be safe in my keeping. Have a nice trip. He hits the release and the door opens and you step off on the curb. The door closes and the bus puts up the hill. People are hanging out the window saying, have a great trip, we'll see you later. And the bus disappears over the hill and you stand alone but not lonely. A summer's day, flip-flops and Bermuda shorts and a t-shirt. And you turn and behind you in the knee-high grass is a path up a small knoll, and you begin to walk up the path left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Cresting the hill and starting down the other side, on either side of the path there are rose bushes, red on your left and yellow on your right. Left foot, right foot, left foot. And ahead of you the enchanted forest, a beautiful, beautiful, safe place. Left foot, right foot. And the sunshine is playing shadows on the floor of the forest. Left foot, right foot as you enter. A squirrel sitting on a stump on your left stops and watches as you pass, knowing he's safe too. Left foot, right foot. And as the path curves around to the right, you begin to hear the sound of moving water. Left foot, right foot. And you approach a small, clear stream. Beautifully, beautiful, clear stream. Shallow. And in it are magnificently colored stones. And these stones are not slippery. And you step out of your flip-flops and into the stream, and the water is so cleansing, it washes up about mid-shin. And the stones are not slippery at all. They kind of crunch a little bit. And you look at the colors of the stones, and there are green stones to remind you of growth, and yellow stones to remind you of success and joy, and red, some say for anger, I say for energy, and blue to remind me that sadness must come, for there cannot be joy without it, and purple to remind me that I am the son of the greatest king. You maybe bend down and pick up a stone or two and put it in your pocket. Maybe not. Begin to walk upstream, left foot sloshing, right foot, a little slosh as the Water moves up close to your knee, left foot. It's so cleansing. And as you walk and the stream curves around to the left, the sound of moving water gets louder and louder. And you come around the little bend and you look out. And across the beautiful pool, you see the waterfall. Off to your right, a cabin. Some old men sit on the porch in rocking chairs. Skirting, staying in ankle-deep water around to the left side, as far as you can see, flowers. Beautiful, beautiful flowers being tended by magnificent butterflies. Curving on around, you come to the base of the waterfall, and there are stairs, and you begin to climb the stairs, left foot, right foot. And you can see behind the waterfall a place to sit. You walk in and sit quietly, looking through the waterfall at the magnificent scene, and begin to absorb God's love. God, please help us send love to our mothers. And God, please help us send love to our fathers. God, please help us send love to our grandparents. God, please help us send love to our brothers and sisters. God, please help us send love to our children and grandchildren, those that we have and those that we will have. God, please help us send love to other relatives, cousins, aunts, and uncles, and the like. God, please help us send love to our wives and sweethearts. God, please help us send love to people we know who are in need of healing. God, please help us send love to people who bother us, who vex our spirit. God, please help us send love to our sponsors and sponsees. God, help us all select an individual who's much in need of love and send it. God, please help us send love to places on planet Earth where there's fighting and anger. God, please help us send love to each other in this room. God, please help us send love to all of planet Earth. Night has fallen and there are stars. And there are billions and billions of stars. And they form themselves into great pinwheel clusters called galaxies. And in the Milky Way galaxy, far out on one of the spiral arms, an average star called the Sun. And on the third planet out from that Sun, in the northern hemisphere, on the North American continent, in the United States, in the Northeast, in New York, at this retreat center, in this building, in this room, in this chair. Welcome home. Please keep your eyes closed. Each a silent prayer for a few moments of thanksgiving. Amen. And we will now begin to awaken slowly. Please keep your eyes closed and wiggle your fingers a little bit and stop. Now wiggle your toes just a little bit and stop. Very slowly bring your hands up to your face and let the pads of your fingers pat lightly on your cheeks. Very, very lightly, just kind of pat your cheeks with the pads of your fingers. And now bring your hands together over your nose and pat lightly your nose and now your eyelids and eyebrows and forehead. And now separate your hands around the sides and pat your ears very lightly and your neck. And lay your hands back to rest in your lap. Lift your left foot, move it about an inch away from the right. Lift your right, move it about an inch away from the left. Drop your chin forward and roll your head around to the left and back and around to the right and back upright. And now if you very slowly raise your arms up above your head like you're signaling for a touchdown and twist your body and stretch and flex and cough and clear your throat. And bring your arms down and give yourself a hug. You deserve one. And when you think you're ready, open your eyes. And if you've opened them too soon, please close them again. A number of years ago, my business is doing pretty well. I hired an assistant, a young Christian girl. And I was a multi-line manufacturer's rep, and I had one factory I represented. It represented about a third of my business. If I lose them, I'm out of business the same day. And they had a woman there that was the pricing authority that I had to clear everything that I did. And there was just no reason for her to be like she was. We figured it was because that house fell on her sister. If you understand what I'm saying, there's just no other explanation. And Sheila and I were sitting in the office one morning running this woman into the ground, and Sheila said, "Whoa, neither one of us thinks this is the right thing for us to do. We must stop this." And I said, "You're exactly right. Exactly right." And we are now going to sit quietly for 5 minutes and send her love. And we started doing that. Within a week, the woman, I had been on the phone with that woman. She called my office. I've been on the phone with her for 10 minutes when I realized she had called me to chat. I could not believe it. A couple of months later, I went to Chicago to the National Trade Show and walked into a suite. They had, that big company had a hospitality suite. Now, when I go where they're serving booze, I show up late. I've got my own ride. I come through the door carrying a drink. I got my family. I got some rules. And I walked in there, and she saw me. She's elbowing people out of the way to get to me, to hug me, to tell me I'm the best rep in the country. And if she had more people like me and Sheila to deal with, her life would be so much better. The room came to a stop. More people than there aren't here came to a stop because everyone knew her like we had. And I spent the rest of that weekend people saying to me, "How in the world did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, but you're probably not going to like it." And I've got a number of stories like that. One of the fellows I sponsor writes TV shows, and you've seen some of them. And he got crosswise with his producer yet one more time. And I said, "Here's the assignment. You're going to sit, before you leave home, she gets 5 minutes of love. You get to the office 5 minutes early, sit in the car, she gets 5 more minutes of love." And it was our custom in those days that he would call me about 10 in the morning. We took a coffee break, go out to his car, come out on his cell phone. Within 10 days, we're sitting there chatting, and I hear tap, tap. He said, "Just a minute." I hear his window go down. I hear a woman's voice, his voice, woman's voice. Window goes up. He says, "You're not going to believe it. It was that producer." And she is on the way to Starbucks one night. She could get me a cup of coffee and a muffin. And I believe that love is the strongest force in the universe. I don't believe anything will stand against it. I'll tell one more story. My first sponsee that lived was sober about 6 months. And I was sober around 2 years. And he and I fished a lot his first year sober. I don't get a lot of visuals when I meditate. Oh, by the way, the trip on the bus is a gift from Miss Linda. And the stones in the river are actually a takeoff from a meditation that she came up with a number of years ago, where you walk up to the base of the rainbow and there's a door. You walk in and go up and sit down. And that's the colors and what they do. And anyway. And I get this visual that Ron and I are out on the Buffalo River, and I'm in the back of the canoe, he's in the front, we're fishing, and I can see it in my meditation, which I did not do this on purpose, this simply happened to me. I can see it from my position in the back of the canoe. I can also see it from the port side of the canoe a couple hundred yards away. This magnificent scene, and my monkey mind, the Buddhists call it, began to talk to me and said words to the effect of, "What a rotten SOB. You're supposed to be trying to get close to God. By meditating, you're out playing on the river with Ron. I'm not going to ask you to believe this came from God, but I want you to know that I believe I heard his voice." And I heard it in my solar plexus. And what he said to me in this very gentle voice was, "If you want to get close to me, work with my people." I'm going to tell you something. I came up out of meditation like stepping on a rake. And I mean, to tell you, what a startling thing that was. And I told you I'm not a skyrocket to success, because what I heard when that is the quotation of what he said to me. What I heard was, "Help those that are not as far down the path as you are." I got 2 years. Right? It takes me another 2 years to figure out it might mean for me to work with those that are further down the path than I am. And my experience has been, when I want to get close to him, I work with you. Whether you're one of my teachers or whether I'm a little further down than you are. It's worked for me every time. And then this thought came to me one time. If that channel ever opened again, and I could ask him one question, what's my question? It took me about 6 months, because it had to be in bounds with all the principles as I understood them. I have my question. I do not want to take away your chance to ponder that and maybe come up with your own question. My email address is the last line on those 2 handouts. And if you'll send me an email a week from today or later, I will tell you my question if you don't tell me yours, but I don't want to take that away from you. Has anyone got anything they need to talk about in this love meditation? I'll give you guys a chance to come out of it a little bit. No? Did anybody pick up a stone? Yeah? What colors? What'd you get? Purple. Purple? Purple. Really? Blue and purple. Oh, interesting. Purple and green. Yeah. Yellow? Blue and purple? Yeah. I do this meditation at a treatment center on a pretty frequent basis, and one of the young men there told me he was the first one to pick up a stone. When I went through this whole thing, and when we came out of it, he said, I picked up a stone. And I said, wow. The next time I led that meditation there, he said when he stepped into the stream, he took the stone out of his pocket and it had gotten dull, and he dipped it into the water and became bright again. You want to meet this young man, by the way, come to Nashville. Let me introduce you to a 20-year-old. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have anything else except my experience has been if I do the meditation in the morning, it brings a sense of peace. If I lose that sense of peace during the day, I can step into the chapel. You know that as the men's room, I think. And go into one of the stalls and close the door and sit down and begin that process again. And within 30 seconds, I get that sense of peace back. But I have to get it early in the day. I have to seek him early in the day. If I want God to be real in my life, I have to treat him like he's real, treat him like he's important. And that means he needs to be first and last. Unless somebody else has a question or a comment on that, I don't. Tommy? What time are you guys doing what now?
10.
10 o'clock? So. It's now 9. It's straight up 9. This workshop ran right at 30 minutes total.
9:30.
Okay, this thing doesn't take long. 9:30? Where are you going to be? Here?
No, they go down to to have a campfire, right? Yeah. They got a campfire meeting at 9:30.
Y'all have a good time. Here?
Jimmy's speaking, can't miss it.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys comfortable with this whisper in the prayers thing? Is that working for everybody? Let's sit quietly in his presence. And then let me try you on this word again slowly. Somebody got it? Is there a dictionary here? If you Yankees, and I love you, but if you can slow it down just a little bit, that'd be really good. I think you'll find. And we'll have a moment of silence after amen. Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom,